Heaven on Earth begins with the faintest of voices, so deep in the mix that it's barely audible. An electric organ skips up the first 5 notes of the B minor scale, an idea picked up and immediately varied by another line with a rounder timbre. But as the beat begins, it's hard to focus on these details. The track samples a gospel song called I Will Lift Up Mine Eyes, the original of which is in 6/8. This means there are 6 eighth notes per bar, which are divided into 2 groups, or beats. Typically, we might expect to hear the kick on the first beat, then the snare on the other weaker beat. That's not what happens here. JPEGMAFIA tears the rhythm of the original to pieces, leaving a bizarrely tattered, stumbling percussion part in its place. It's very rare to hear such asymmetry in rap, a genre that usually sticks so closely to regular 4-beat bars and 4-bar phrases. We'll take a closer look at this unusual decision later on. In any case, Peggy's line about the nobodies who don't have his beats is certainly backed up with proof. It's hard to imagine this loop appearing on many producers' tracks, or to come across rappers willing to tackle it. Around 104, Peggy meets his match in that regard. Danny Brown enters with an audacious flow, determined to find the pocket even as it darts about in front of him, eyes trained on a moving target. Whether deliberate or not, his opening line seems to fit perfectly, as if recounting a rapper's lessons learned in when to stick to a beat and when to dance around it. Like at many points on the album, the theme of Danny's verse as a whole is Christianity. His relationship with God is depicted as a strained one. He describes only attending church for funerals, and only praying in hope of leniency after criminal charges. A few lines halfway through his verse are especially sharp. The imagery of falling to his knees evokes begging as much as worship, a potent way to convey the power dynamics not just between him and the law, but also him and the Lord. That link is made clearer through the similarity between the phrase "fell on my knees" and the word felony. From there, he continues with near rhymes, looking for God to have his back, but disappointed when he doesn't get a response. The comparison to a message left hanging, and the uncertainty that brings with it, is a neat way to frame the situation so listeners can relate to it, religious or not. Danny's verse also references the song title, reconciling the heavenly backing and his own far from devout behaviour. Peggy's own verse may not have been quite as thematically relevant, but his delivery of the phrase that don't know they exist is notable as he rises into falsetto. Here, he's not only taking inspiration from the gospel sample, but placing himself at the heart of it, following its melodic contour. Let's go back to that off-kilter beat. This could perhaps be interpreted as representing a struggle with faith or the challenge of living a holy life. It's only used in that cut-up form in the first half of the verses. The second half treats the sample with a lighter touch. It's telling that Danny's line about heaven on earth comes near instantly after this switch. In the song's entire final minute, the angelic original is able to stretch its wings, offering reassurance or redemption. Yet at the close, the sample ends abruptly, as if no longer needed or welcome. The exact meaning is unclear. Heaven on Earth raises thorny questions, but offers no easy answers. For more analysis, you can browse the playlist, subscribe, and support Apocopop on Patreon. See you next time.